Coming up, a major power outage in parts of Letcher County tonight.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We begin with breaking news in Letcher County, where thousands of Kentucky Power customers were left in the dark tonight. Kentucky Power posted on social media just after 8 o'clock that a tree fell out of the right-of-way and onto power lines, knocking out power for about 5,000 customers. Outages were reported in several areas, including Whitesburg. They said line and forestry crews were working as quickly as possible to make repairs. At last check, power was expected to be restored around midnight. Of course, we'll keep you updated on WYMT.com and the WYMT News app. Also new tonight, a train collided with an SUV in Knox County. That happened at the crossing near Highway 225 and Factory Road in the Artemis community. No serious injuries were reported, but a woman and a 2-year-old child were taken to the hospital as a precaution. The driver of the SUV told deputies she did not hear the train, and the train's engineer said he did not see the vehicle until it was too late. Many are mourning the loss of a woman who died unexpectedly after a medical emergency during the Redbud ride in Laurel County over the weekend. We are told Cammie Creech and her husband both participated in the ride. Creech was 54 years old, an animal lover, and was a receptionist at Paws and Claws in London. People who knew Creech want others to remember how she lived her life.
She had such a passion for life. I mean, she was that girl that she has to just help you. You know, we had clients come in and it was like she had a passion for those pets that come in, and you know, she's that person that's here, let me help you with your pet, let me help you whatever you need done. Yeah.
Creech's visitation and funeral is tomorrow at House Rawlings Funeral Home. Members of the biking community are among those expected to pay their respects. More than 600 cyclists participated in the Redbud ride Saturday. One person is dead after a UTV crash in Pike County. It happened early Sunday morning on Upper Johns Creek Road in the Kemper community. The initial investigation indicates a Polaris side-by-side went over an embankment and hit a tree. 38-year-old Kyle Harden was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. 34-year-old Michael Harden was pronounced dead by the Pike County Coroner's Office. We've learned a longtime former lawmaker from Southern Kentucky has died. Charles Seiler represented the 82nd District of Whitley and Laurel counties in the State House for around 20 years. The Williamsburg Republican served in the House from 1985 to 1990 and again from 1995 to 2011. Seiler was also a decorated U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. His visitation will be Saturday from 1 p.m. until the funeral at 3 at Calvary Missionary Baptist Church. Charlie Seiler was 94 years old.
We are tracking some cool and calm weather to close out your Wednesday. Not much happening on First Alert Pinpoint Doppler, and we stay dry overnight under a mainly clear sky up on the radar. You can see we are quiet this evening, but we are watching out for a cold front that will continue pushing off to the south and east overnight, and that will usher in some cooler air to wake up on Thursday. Right now, most of us in the upper 40s to middle 50s in some areas, down to 49 for Grundy, 50 for Moorhead, 55 in Irvin, and 56 for London, also in Jackson at this hour. But again, we are chilly to wake up on Thursday, possibly some patchy frost as you wake up in the morning. Some people wake up in the 30s. Most of us, though, in the middle to lower 40s to walk out the door on your Thursday. And some more nice weather is on the way tomorrow. We stay dry on Thursday under some sunshine, and those highs are back in the upper 60s to lower 70s. But we see some 80s by Sunday, also by next Monday. More details on that warm-up coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. Earlier today, folks with the Kentucky River Health Consortium gathered together at the Perry County Public Library for an event called Picking Up the Pieces. Officials say the event was created in an effort to help people with a loved one that struggles with addiction, manage life, and know who to lean on for help. Francis Feltner, director of the Center of Excellence in Rural Health, says events like these are important.
Not many of us have got someone in their family that has not been through the trials of addiction. So what can we learn from each other? How can we help each other? How can we support each other during those times?
A big topic during the event was Casey's Law and the impact it can make in the lives of families across the Commonwealth. April marks Child Abuse Prevention Month, and today those who work to protect children gathered in Frankfort for an abuse prevention summit. Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky Executive Director Jill Seaford says social workers, law enforcement, mental health workers, and more were in attendance, focusing on topics like fatherhood, electronic crimes against children, and corporal punishment.
Really just an opportunity to grow both individually in the work that we do, but collectively throughout the state of Kentucky.
Attorney General Russell Coleman was also there, highlighting the work these professionals do. This marks the first summit of this kind in Frankfort, and those with Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky say they hope to host more in the future. A job fair in Pike County brought more than 40 employers to the same space, hoping to fill a variety of positions in the region. Big Sandy Area Community Action and Kentucky Career Center connected the employers with potential employees today, bringing them to the Pike County Public Library for the hiring event. Workforce Director Jeff Hensley says the event was a way to show the jobs available and try to eliminate barriers to get people in the roles immediately.
We are bringing in job seekers and employers from throughout eastern Kentucky, trying to bridge the gap and help the community. So we want to bring the job seekers in to talk to them one-on-one, go ahead and do their interviews on spot, go ahead and get them hired, and just try to give them something to look forward to.
Organizers say it takes events like these to promote many of the positions in the mountains that people might not be aware of. Kentucky State Police posts throughout the Commonwealth are raising money for the Kentucky Special Olympics, asking their communities to cover the cruiser. Post 9 parked its cruiser in front of Pikeville Walmart Wednesday, seeing a slew of supporters, with each dollar donation adding another note to the car and more awareness to the cause. Trooper Michael Coleman says the outreach does not stop when the cruiser is covered.
Yeah, so it kind of comes full circle. We come out here and we do the fundraising and help raise the funds. But then when the Olympic Games actually go on, a lot of times troopers will go down there and help with giving out medals or helping with the Olympic Games. So to get to see where it's going and see the smile and the look on the athlete's face when they win a medal, it really makes it worthwhile.
Coleman says the event is in its 5th year and has been a great tool for fundraising, bringing in more than $56,000 since 2020. Tense protests over the Israel-Hamas war continued throughout the day and night at major U.S. colleges in several states, including New York, Texas, and California. In a sign of progress Wednesday at Columbia University, students agreed to scale down their encampment and ban discriminatory language following a commitment from administrators not to call in police. CBS's Naomi Ruckham has the latest.
Law enforcement moved in on pro-Palestinian protesters at USC on Wednesday. Earlier, they clashed with campus police after officers removed a tent encampment. University leaders say many of the demonstrators did not appear to be affiliated with USC, and as a result, campus gates are now only open to students and faculty. On day 8 of protests at Columbia University in New York, the school said it is making important progress with protesters, but has given students a deadline to dismantle their tents.
We are advocating for life. We're advocating for an end to massacre.
Protesters say they will not leave until Columbia agrees to cut its business ties to Israel. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke at the Ivy League school on Wednesday, just yards away from protesters.
Today, Hamas issued an endorsement statement of the protesters on this campus. They called them the future leaders of America. It is detestable.
The Louisiana Republican called on Columbia's president to resign if she can't bring order to what he described as chaos.
Cherished traditions of this university are being overtaken right now by radical and extreme ideologies. They place a target on the backs of Jewish students.
It's never in my life I felt more afraid for my life like here.
While at the University of Texas, Austin, police in riot gear confronted about 200 demonstrators. Free Palestine! Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the protesters belong in jail. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul says she has no plans to send in the National Guard to Columbia. Columbia announced that because of the unrest, there will be a remote option for upcoming final exams. Graduation is set to take place on campus there in 3 weeks.
A blockbuster case that could decide whether Donald Trump enjoys presidential immunity from criminal prosecution. I'm John Decker at the Supreme Court. That story coming up.
Plus, we are tracking some warmer weather for this weekend. Those details after this break.